Hey, software. Hey, Sherry. I miss you guys.
Good evening, my friend. Sherry, are you there yet?
Where are you at now, software? Are you still in Vegas?
I'm in Southern California.
Here I am just chatting away and my microphone is off. Such a rookie mistake. Hey, Veronica. Hey, Brian.
That's usually me, Sherry.
Oh, you're rubbing off on me and it's okay. Veronica, I was trying to let you know I have been driving to Florida today for a pool party and ladies' weekend of poker, and a normally 5 hour drive took me 8 because there was a huge traffic jam. So, yes, I have finally arrived. Thank goodness, safe and sound.
Sounds like first world problems. You're driving to go enjoy a ladies' weekend in Florida. We all feel really bad for you and your traffic jam, Sherry.
I know, like, fuck you, Sherry. I hear you loud and clear. Um, I just want to start out with a little introduction, although she probably doesn't need one. I feel like it's befitting. Our guest, Veronica, was born in Poland, and at the age of 6, Veronica and her family fled communism to a refugee camp in Austria. Then the family headed to Canada, where Veronica was raised, and now, with a couple of moves in between, she resides in California. Veronica has enjoyed participating in beauty pageants with, I'm sure nobody's surprised about that, is known in the DJ world as Lady V, which was something I learned. She
Oh
attended.
my God, how do you know all this? Oh my God.
Wait, it gets better. I said we were going to get to know you.
We've had
Um,
our spies out there.
we have. She attended college and graduated and was launched into her nursing career. Decided to go back to school at some point to focus on a master's in predictive analytics. Quickly mentioning, oh no, I'm sorry. Veronica's Hendon Mob reflects her best cash as her 13th place finish in the 2019 WSOP Ladies event for just over $7,300. And she has a total Hendon Mob earnings to date of a little over 32,000. Veronica has had many roles in the poker world, and to mention just a few, she has been a sideline reporter for Poker After Dark. Veronica has also been a sideline reporter for the $1 Million Game at Hustler um, Casino. She has been a vital part of Nick Vertucci's show as his co-host. In the real world, she works hard as an analytical analyst, which of course gets in her way of spending time in the spaces with us during the day. Veronica was the booth announcer at Stone's Casino when her honesty in reporting as a whistleblower catapulted her to the front and center of the poker and national media. Calling out a cheater turned Veronica's life upside down, and the poker world owes her a huge thank you. Of all the jobs our guest, Veronica Brill, you have held in the poker world, which has been your favorite thus far?
Oh, that is an interesting question because if I had to say, Poker After Dark was probably the big one, probably my favorite. I got to do 3 seasons and I got to meet so many people and learn how a real TV show is produced and, that in and out of that. But the $1 Million Cash Game was like the once in a poker lifetime kind of situation, getting to do sideline reporting with Joey Ingram and then like Tom Dwan playing and all these big names and a documentaries being filmed. So like I think those two for me were the best and the most fun and just like very, very happy that I got to be a part of those two.
Well, and we loved you. We loved you. Go ahead, software.
I gotta say, Veronica, I kind of feel like Sherry slow rolled us there. I mean, she's sitting there. We're going to introduce Veronica, and you're thinking you're going to hear about, some of the stuff she said, and then she breaks into all this stuff I've never heard before. Uh, I mean, did you forget the social security number you were going to give out? Veronica's
Yeah,
social
yeah.
security number there,
She
Sherry?
probably already has that. Yeah, the whole DJ thing. I was a DJ when I was like in my late teens, early 20s, and I did some fun stuff with that. And then like the beauty pageants, I had no idea you found that stuff. I won Miss Polonia Canada, which is Miss Poland Canada, and I was supposed to compete in Miss Canada, but I was too old when I won Miss Polonia, so they took my runner-up.
Oh
So
my God, that's horrible.
I
But
was 25.
congratulations.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
But
you
yeah,
know,
I'm Sherry, you're just an investigator. I don't want to. I feel like I can't keep anything from you.
well, I have been told that before. I'm not going to lie. And I'm also going to say to you that, you are a huge thirst trap here on Twitter. So nobody is surprised that you were a beauty pageant queen. That is for sure, ma'am.
Well, my thirst traps didn't really start until like my late 30s and in my 40s. So like, it's never too late to start thirst trapping people. That's the moral of the story.
Well, and I could not agree more, and it's fun to watch. I appreciate you coming up, Chris, and appreciate you and Sean and the rest of the folks that were over in your space coming to join us this evening. Appreciate the shout outs today. Bear with us for a few minutes. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, so I obviously like that when I first heard about you. Actually, let me just say this: I saw your post about the roast, and the only roast that I can really give you is that I like when I first saw you on Twitter and stuff. I was like, I don't know, like I was like, Veronica and whatever. And then when I got on Spaces, like that's the amazing thing about Spaces. I've got to really like get to know people and know who they are, and that kind of thing. And honestly, like become one of my favorite people on Twitter, honestly. And I think that Spaces lets you get the context behind what people say, whereas Twitter, you're just kind of like you get this little sound bite, and like I'm not saying like you were like this awful person in my mind, but like you really became somebody that I quit giving me the oh my gosh faces there, Ellie. I'm not saying anything crazy bad. Oh my gosh, and Chris is giving me them too. Anyway, but what was that like as far as the $1 million game and doing that like with Joey and those guys? Can you talk a little bit about that?
By the way, I have to say, you and I met this summer at the series, and I feel the same way about you. You're just a really bright, fun, smart, considerate guy. So I appreciate that. And it feels
Oh,
really
thank
weird
you.
to be getting all these compliments today. I just want to say that. And I even hashed it out with Slay today. So like we're having a really, really good Friday. Um, the $1 million cash game. That was both good and bad, like really, really good. The being given the privilege of like doing the pregame show, and then Nick and I doing the pregame show on his show, and then sideline reporting and working with Joey. I just fucking love Joey Ingram. I think he's one of the kindest people I know. He's one of those people that like is genuinely a kind person and not just doing things or being nice to people just because of clout or something like that. Of course, like Nick and I haven't done a show since we had a little bit of a falling out. I still respect him a lot and appreciate the opportunities he gave me. So that was like the bad side of it. But I really, when I look at the $1 million cash game, I look at someone like Ryan Feldman, and I really believe in his vision. And one thing that like kind of uh that was like the most thing that brought to my attention was like Ryan's focus. He doesn't really listen to anybody's negative feedback. He's just on a train with no brakes, and he's just going to continually put out the next best thing while the rest of us are criticizing him, or we're telling him how or what to do, or he's just like he's got his mind on the next thing while he's like crushing his current project. So that was like a unique experience to be around him for so many days and just see him at work. Like he just is so focused on there's like no world where he doesn't succeed. So I thought that was really cool.
That's very cool. And it's very good to hear that side of it for sure. Brian, I think we need to take a second to acknowledge our sponsor. Did you want to do it?
Oh yeah, well, hey, Veronica, after a lot of negotiations, and well, I couldn't move to Vegas. The family wouldn't do it, and all this. They wanted to put us up in this luxury condominium and stuff. And then Sherry and I had this whole fight over editorial control and that type of stuff. So it was a negotiation and that kind of thing. But we came together for the good of the spaces, and accepted our roles and all of that. And I'm really proud to announce Elevated Results has decided to sponsor the show here today. Elevated Results PT.com. They do online virtual training and just improving your life and that sort of thing. So want to shout out to them definitely and welcome them to the program. Right.
I thought for sure we were going to hear something about Lyman sponsoring the show or something, because I see him in here. And shout out to Lyman. I love you, Lyman.
Well, hopefully he'll be our next.
So this is like a wait. This is like a quality of life, like life coaching site. Is that what it is? Your sponsor?
It actually is. If you need to gain weight or lose weight or just tone up, they'll help you. If you want meal plans to help with those goals, they'll help you with that. It's one-on-one, fitness coaching, so to speak, life coaching, so to speak, virtually. Mark, which is one of the partners, actually owns 2 gyms in LA. And Ed is from Atlanta, and he is a PE teacher. And they've been working together for over a year, and they've just decided to start a business together.
Yeah, I think we should also incorporate recess, like an elementary school playground during the World Series of Poker, and we all get to go outside and play for 30 minutes so that we can stay active, because poker players are in general probably less active.
I think that's a great idea, actually. I'm probably the first one that probably needs to do that.
I wonder who would be fighting during recess. Like for sure there would be fist fights every day during recess at the World Series of Poker.
Well,
oh my God.
The dodgeball game would be epic. Maybe instead of like all these fist fights that are probably never going to happen, we could at least get a dodgeball game going,
Right on. Dodgeball's the bomb. And, as a PE teacher, he can't even play, the kids can't even play it in PE anymore, and that's a shame, but understandably these days and times, right? Ruben, I see you joined us. I need you to follow me so I can DM you those photos you requested, sir.
Are you sending Ruben nudes? Because that's hot. And
yes.
I feel like WePro would be okay with this. I love this.
As a matter of fact,
Veronica, Ruben, I'll
Veronica,
send you nudes too, baby. Check your DMs.
I love it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to encourage you and all females, males too, and WePro requests boob pictures. But yesterday we were in a space, just to take a little detour here in our conversation, and the topic came up of whether or not WePro gets jealous in their relationship, and she said she didn't and didn't feel the need, and Ruben kind of said he kind of wished she would, because he kind of felt that a little bit of jealousy is kind of hot. And so I kind of came up with the idea that maybe we should send him some hot photos so that we can see, test her jealousy meter, so to speak. So
I would guess if I sent Ruben a nude, he'd probably show it to WePro. She'd be like, "Oh my God, she's hot. I love it. Let's look at it together."
And that's
I
what they're
don't.
going to do. Just to be,
Yeah.
transparent
So
here. That's exactly what they're going to do, and we're trying to help them in their relationship to build jealousy. So go ahead, send them
that's
pictures.
that's wonderful. I'm so happy to hear that. I think jealousy is like one of the worst things you can have in a relationship, but you know what? Why not? Let's do it.
That escalated quickly, Veronica.
Oh God,
I'm
it's
probably
so
more like
funny.
we pro when I'm in a relationship. Like I am not jealous. And if I'm ever in a situation where I just like don't trust someone, I'll just leave rather than get mad at them or put a short leash on them. Like I'm just not a fan of jealousy.
Yeah, I've never been a jealous person either. It's just not who I am, and I really can't even be around those females mostly that have that rage of jealousy type thing hanging on. I'm out. I'm completely out.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
men too. I would never
Yeah,
date a man who's jealous and controlling. I hate that shit.
yeah, and fortunately, I've never been around any, so I've not had that experience. But yeah, there are definitely many of those out there, right? I have a question for you, Veronica. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh shit. God damn, this is a real fucking interview. Oh God. Uh, you want serious or you want jokes?
I don't
Uh,
care. You answer
Somebody
whatever
So
you
just
want to.
texted me New Mexico, Veronica. I don't know what that means, but maybe it's a sign.
yeah, I've only driven through New Mexico. I'm not a great fan. You will probably never catch me there. I'll probably go for a party if anyone wants to host a party in New Mexico. Uh so earlier this year I got a new job on my analytics team. I'm a senior developer and I really love this job and I'm having the best time. And I have amazing coworkers, picked up golf, go golfing with them. Um, so probably in 5 years, I will be, I don't, I'm in this like phase where I just want to freeze time, where I'm enjoying every moment. I love where I live. I love my job. I love my friends. I'm having just the time of my life. It's like, why do I want anything to change? I
Not
just,
many people can say that, Veronica. And I can certainly understand why you would want to freeze time because you are in that mode right now.
yeah, and I feel like I I always want to tell this to young women. I'm sorry, all the guys in here who are like, oh fuck, more woman talk, but you're gonna fucking get it. Like as a woman, I went through so many different phases in my life, and I'm in my 40s now. I'm 46, and I'm honestly having the best time of my life. I'm making the most money I've ever made. I'm getting the most opportunities I've ever had. I'm, I have more guys in their 20s hitting on me than they did when I was in my 20s. Like I'm just more free. I'm more open. I don't care so much about needing to have a relationship. I felt like there was so much social pressure on me in my 20s to like marry someone and have kids and all. And I don't feel that anymore. I just go
Amen,
out.
sister.
Yeah, I just go out and do things because I want to and I enjoy them and I hang out with people because I enjoy their company and I don't feel that pressure to do anything that society wants me to do. I just do what I want. And it's just been lovely. Like I don't know. I lead a simple life. I go hiking and wine tasting on weekends. I occasionally play poker. Work. I go golfing in the evenings with my coworkers. Like, I don't know. I,
You know
I'm,
what, Veronica? I think you cracked the code, my love. I think you cracked the code of happiness. And guess what? Don't change it. Don't change it unless you feel the need. That's awesome. Like, congratulations. A lot of people never get a point to that point in their lives, right? And so that is awesome. I would be remiss if I didn't say a few thank yous to you, Veronica, because there were some trials and tribulations on spaces, and you came to bat not only for me, but for others. And I know I've told you this before, but thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate our friendship. And Brian, did you mute everybody?
Oops,
Okay,
sorry.
that's okay. I appreciate
This button
you.
is far too big. Somebody somebody should have tested this thing.
Okay,
software. We're just gonna say it now. You're fat fingering your phone.
yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, step away from the buttons.
You just can't stop.
Weird. That's so weird. I'm not clicking it. Like I don't know what's happening. It's
Okay,
weird.
so that's okay. We'll just let it go. It's just a Twitch then. But I just wanted to say thank you a million times, Veronica. I appreciate you.
Thank you. And I appreciate you making all the guys in here vomit a little bit in their mouths for that. And I love you too, Sherry. And that you did not deserve what Eden said about you, and you don't deserve to be treated in that way by anyone. And so I told you this before, you're a great member of the community, and I want to be aligned with people like you and not with like toxic, angry, middle-aged drunk men.
Well, and I
Well,
appreciate
one
that.
in particular.
Right, right. Chris, did you have any questions or comments?
Oh, hey guys. Hey, Veronica. Um, I wanted to. Sherry did an amazing job finding out all the stuff about Veronica. I wanted to mention one thing that um, I guess not many people know about, but she she helped. She did this charity drive to help Clayton get a new van because he has special needs, and it costs a lot of money to for him to be able to travel across the country with his dad, right? And they were able to do that, and Veronica basically led that drive, and I Veronica, I haven't. I think we've only met like actually maybe like three times, but I'm always impressed by how friendly and how open you are, and but I think like your best traits are really shown on Twitter because like you're just exceedingly intelligent and wickedly funny. Like the times when you're trolling people like Sean Deeb and stuff, they're just brilliant. And I think that you're just like a fucking superhero in poker, for the apostle stuff, for all the other stuff, for the KL stuff, and for I'm just really I'm just really angry that there are people that came after you and talk shit about you. There's like you know Veronica is like one of those people who just says the things that are no one wants to say, but the things that need to be said. Like we had a space a couple weeks ago that Ellie hosted talking about women in poker, and she said some really surprising things that 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 women just aren't getting the same opportunities that men of equal ability, equal intelligence don't get in poker, and that's something that people don't want to hear. But she doesn't, Veronica, no one can cancel Veronica. She can say whatever she wants, so I really appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm uncancelable, everyone. So suck it.
So suck it. Oh, Brian,
Well,
I don't know what's
the KL thing, I just wanted to say this, like, I mean, you're interviewing me, and I don't want to just have this be some like superficial, lighthearted interview. I'm assuming like you want to know a few things. The KL thing was interesting, because when I interviewed him, I don't tweet about my son a lot because I have those moments privately, and every when you lose a child, it's like you're just grieving for the rest of your life, and then you just become better at grieving, and you become better at being able to talk about it. And it took me years of therapy to be able to talk about it. But a lot of people don't know that my son had some special needs, and some people don't like those words, but those are the words that I was using at the time, and my doctors were using and stuff. My son actually was in a wheelchair, and for those of you who don't know, he passed away from cancer. It was the worst thing that I've ever watched a child experience, and I experienced on my own. But one of the issues I had was I couldn't get him around with his wheelchair. And we were looking at trying to get a van for him. And there were rules like they they would reimburse you, the state would reimburse you a percentage of what you paid. But in order to get a van, you have to actually pay for it outright. because no one will modify a leased van or a van that has a loan on it. So you have to show them that you own it outright, and then you have to pay. So these vans cost like 60, $70,000, and then you have to pay like $30,000 to modify it, depending on what modifications you need. And like at the time when I needed that for my son, I couldn't get a van, and I was looking at used vans, and like it was just so expensive. And I wasn't working at the time because I had to quit work to take care of my son, and I was providing for him 24/7. And so I remember that struggle. I remember like having to go to the doctor with him, and it was such an ordeal because we couldn't fit the wheelchair in the car. And like I hated those moments. I thought it was so unfair. And then when I interviewed KL and he told me he had this broken down van, I just knew automatically, like, I didn't even ask him, like, well, why isn't the government taking care of it? Which a few of my libertarian friends, said that to me. I fucking knew that the government wasn't going to take care of it. I fucking knew that this guy was stuck in his house for a couple of years, except for like doctor's appointments where you can call a van service. But for the most part, it's not like he could go to the World Series of Poker or go play poker anywhere, go to a casino, go spend time with his family and go to a dinner. He couldn't do any of that shit. So it just infuriated me. And so I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to put together a fundraiser. And the fundraiser didn't just happen in one day. It was like over a long period of time, like COVID hit. So the fundraiser lost traction. But then like that last fundraiser I did really gained momentum. And then Phil Hellmuth jumped on there and just changed the whole thing. Like we went from, I can't even remember, like a couple hundred viewers to just like thousands. And then we got tons of donations for the next like week. So, and then I begged Bill Perkins to like match $25,000. I was like sitting in the parking lot on my lunch break, like, please, Bill, you have the money. Just like, I know you can donate 25,000. He finally gave in because at first he only wanted to give me 5,000. I'm like, come on, you rich bitch, give me more money.
I love you
So
for that. I love you for that. And Veronica also was Kale's tag team partner, which it was fun to watch that story develop. But I appreciate you sharing that very
I'm
personal story, Veronica.
well, I was not only his tag team partner, but so he was playing I believe Deuce to Seven triple draw where I was his assistant. And this is like a hand against Benny.
Oh, I love it.
And I don't know, I can't remember the exact details, but I heard him say fold. He said call, and I folded his hand, and apparently it was the winning hand. And Benny was on his right, and it was like so frustrating. Yeah, I
Oh.
was his terrible assistant too.
Well, we know that we can check that off of your list of things to do. You're not the
Ver-
one to be the assistant there.
so Veronica, you said about the funding for it. So the state, what like for California, what do they pay, or was
So
yours in California?
yeah, so mine's in California. I was living in the Sacramento at the time. And so you had to first get the vehicle, get it modified, and then submit all of those things. And then they reimburse you, I think, for part of the modification or like a percentage of the modification. So you're still having to buy this van up front. And like when you have a sick child and you're paying for medications, and someone inevitably has to quit their job to take care of this child, uh, we just didn't have any money. We were like barely making it every month. So yeah,
Wow.
it's not that easy for people who have disabled children. I mean, I used to. This is like a off topic, but I had a nursing company. Some people don't know I mean, you said it. My undergrad's in nursing, and so when my son was sick, he needed to be tube fed. And I started a tube feeding company doing clinical, real food tube feedings that matched the formulas because the formulas are all made out of corn syrup and actually fucking terrible for your kids. So I have this program. That's when I started getting interested in like analytics and like some coding because I created this program from scratch. It took me like 100 hours. And then I would like submit these clinical diets and two doctors started contracting me to give diets to their kids. I can't remember what my story were like my point. I feel like I'm going in the weeds here,
That's
but
okay.
I was like, I basically, we had no money. I was scraping by trying to make ends meet, and we couldn't get this van for our son.
Very frustrating for a parent. And you know what I hear in that story is the mother of invention, right? And you're just such a smart lady that you just get down on, to the bricks, and you hit the bricks and you get shit done, and it's amazing. Ellie, what you got? Comments or questions, ma'am? Go for it.
Uh, Comments and then a question, or two. But yeah, I've yeah, big fan of Veronica's. I'm sure most of us are. But yeah, I followed you like sometime in last fall or whatever, Veronica, when I was first like, getting into like poker Twitter and stuff. So it was cool to like see your tweets for I guess longer than I've seen from all your tweets. But yeah, I guess I really look up to you in terms of like someone to aspire to like model, like I don't know, like the trajectory of where they end up. Like I guess when they like in their 40s, because like I feel like I'm 29 and I've only had my 20s as like an adult essentially, and like it always feels like you're never, you know, moving fast enough or doing this or that. So it's always like a bit, you know, unclear like if you're gonna figure everything out in time. But and I've had like highs and lows. I'm currently in like a low period in some ways, like financially and just like career wise, figuring it out. But yeah, it sounds like I don't know all about your life, obviously, but like it sounds like you've had hard times and then like you're really enjoying it now. And I think like just like to bring it back to like some of your tweets about I know your optimism around like living a long time with like a lot of like the advances in health and like medicine and stuff. It's just like it sort of just makes me think that like life can be like so full of so many good things, and it's like weird because it also goes by really quick. Like sometimes a single day is like long as fuck, but like it also goes by really quickly. And I don't know, I just like all the interactions I've had with you, it's like you're just you're on a really cool like era, and I'm
Can I
grateful
make
for.
a comment about can I make a comment about that? And like I look at you as my peer, and I would like, I'm not saying this in a way to talk down to you. And I like normally don't like to talk to people who are younger than me. Like when I was your age, I hate that shit so much because like we're all in this time right now and we can't help our ages, right? But I will say that like I hate the rules of like, hey, when are you gonna get your shit together? Or like, when are you gonna like figure things out? Like life's not about figuring it all out at once. Life is like a journey. And I think one of the greatest things I figured out was like just kind of living in the moment and enjoying your life and just kind of being grateful for being here. Because as a person who doesn't believe in an afterlife and I believe in science and reality, like I don't really think that I'm going to be here after I die. And so kind of makes me more grateful for the moments that I do have. And like every fucking day is a new day. Like I could at 50 be like, well, you know what? I want to go back to school and get a PhD in physics. Like, why the fuck not? Like, do what you want. There's no right way of doing things. There's no way, there's nothing to figure out. Just like you're at your own pace. You'll figure things out eventually, and maybe not. Maybe you'll just enjoy yourself along the way. I don't know. I'm just kind of a hippie in this way.
I
Yeah,
love
that's
that.
awesome. That's kind of what I was almost trying to get at. So thanks for rephrasing it and being more clear. Yeah, it just seems like you're willing to like go with the flow and then like double down on what you like doing, and that's something that I've been trying to figure out how to do this year after like kind of spending most of my 20s thinking I had to follow some linear path and stuff. So yeah, it's just like there's so many eras in life, and that's becoming clear to me. And then my question was, uh, do you think you're gonna like? Do you? I know it seems like you like the Bay Area and stuff. Do you think you're gonna like chill there for a long time, or was there other places? Not New Mexico, I guess, but like, because I missed the Bay Area. I lived there for like like most of the second half of the 2010s, and I miss it. But I'm just wondering, like, are you bullish on any other areas in the country or elsewhere?
Honestly, I love being around tech. I love the weather in the Bay Area.
Yeah,
Um, I think like the most opportunities are here. I don't think that I would have been given the opportunity that I have right now in another area, just given my background. I was a little bit of a like square peg they were trying to fit into a round hole, and they just gave me a chance. But I yeah, I feel like I'm gonna stay here for a while. I'm gonna stay in California. Like there might be a world where I move to LA and then I can go golfing with Lyman or something and play PLO with him, and he can take my money. He'll pretend to love me. But I just don't see myself leaving California.
Yeah, I'm like long California. I know I'll get canceled for that by the Midwest motherfuckers, but yeah, I love California.
We used to love California. Now it's just a cluster there. Too much traffic. Al, was that your final question? Can I ask?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate you, Al. All right. ASG, I think you were next.
Yeah, and sorry if this is rehashing old territory because I haven't watched that many interviews or anything. So it's it's one thing to know that something's up or something's not right, and it's another thing to like speak out on it. So like, was there a triggering moment that made you decide to finally, or not finally, but to speak up on the possible situation when a lot of people weren't?
Yeah, going public was like the last time I spoke out about it. The first time was like, so that was September 19. The first time was in March of 19. And before that, I even talked to Alicia about it. And I was like talking to a few close friends, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I was talking to Bart Hansen, and Bart actually encouraged me to go to Justin Caritas, the guy who was helping Mike Postle, which was now makes sense because he was trying to gaslight me and telling me that I had no idea what I was talking about. I wasn't a poker pro. I didn't know anything about poker. Why would I accuse someone of this when I don't even know how to play myself very well? So, and he wasn't wrong about that, I guess. But so I had gone to Stones. I had talked to people. Was like trying to figure out how to do this. And then I also had pros come up to me and be like, well, like it in a vacuum, it's okay. I can see like these kinds of spots happening. I've seen this stuff before. And so I was really like unsure as to whether or not I was able to trust my what I saw. And there were like external variables outside of like, oh, he's never folding in this spot. There were external variables. There was like him not being able to cognitively talk me through a hand, him like never studying but making more money than all of my high stakes friends in smaller games. But then the very last show that I did commentary, and that was with Christian Soto when Matt Berkey was in the game, I at the end of that show thought I was watching, and there's video clips of me being like, it's like he knows. It's like he knows the cards. So I at that point thought I was watching a cheater the entire night. And then I thought that the tournament director, or Justin Caritas, the guy who was running Stones Live, I thought he was incompetent. Later on, I found out he was helping him. And I thought, if I go public, I can get another set of eyes on it because at least someone who knows something about poker, because I apparently do not, someone can look at it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But if I'm right, this would be a good thing.
Thank you.
Oh, that was short and sweet. Thank you, ASG. I appreciate you. Okay, Em, you're next. Thank you.
Well, I want to say that I'm a giant fan of Veronica's, and I want to explain the evolution of that. I also have a son who was born with a terrible disability and changed my life in many ways. And the first time I was exposed to Veronica, I knew a little bit about her and Stones, but I was listening to a Hustler thing where she was commentating, and the chat was like attacking her, and she was getting into a fight, and she seemed so angry. And I was like, wow, why is she fighting with the chat, right? Because that's kind of unusual for a commentator. But what I decided to do was do a little research. I'm like, what's up with this woman, And I started reading all these things about what had happened with her son, which is, when you have a situation like that, I know for me, I walked around angry for a really long time. Like if I pulled into a place and someone who was not disabled pulled into a disabled parking lot, I would, stand there and wait for the guy to come out because I wanted to fight him. So you just don't understand the agony of when you have a child in pain. And, like Veronica, it changed my life. I realized, I had to give up my business career at the time, and I never went back to it in the same way. And I ended up creating a big, website for helping families like mine and Veronica's to deal with, because the issues she brought up about the things with like the van, and you don't understand the amazing amount of costs that's involved in something like this. And I was very blessed because I was able to afford to pay for these things, but I saw the literally millions of people who couldn't, and so I got organized in doing it. But I just want to say, Veronica, I've been there, not to the extent where my child died. He ended up he went through 13 surgeries, and now he can walk. And I set up and arranged surgeries for about 400 other kids who got out of wheelchairs through our company. And, I just can't imagine the pain that you've dealt with, and want to say that I find you very inspiring.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's really kind of you. I heard you talking about your son today. I just didn't want to make it about me and start talking about that, but I
I
appreciate
realize
that.
that. I see that you're very hesitant to speak out about him, and I've always been very hesitant on this type of stuff to speak out about it. I didn't even want to explain what I was doing now with addiction stuff. And then Alan Keating brought it up on the space where he saw me in there, and he knew who I was. But I just, people just will never understand, right?
Well, we appreciate your comments, Mike. And Donna, it's your turn. Did you have something you'd like to share or ask?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, even though Eden were a total twat, he he started a movement with those women. Remember, Whores, Women Who Rock. And I am so glad that when all this shit kicked off, that you stood up for me in that, and we got closer. So thank you for that, babe. Means a lot.
Oh, thank you. That's really kind of you. Yeah, I love you. I think like you're just a positive force in the community, and I'm just happy I was able to support you because you're a reflection of what I would want to be.
Now you're going to get me crying.
No, we're not going to
Stop
cry.
it.
No crying. No crying. We're not crying. We're not crying.
Shout at me.
We're not crying. And, I can tell you who's going to save us from crying. Greg Lark. What you got for us, buddy?
Oh God, I know. Yeah, okay. Here we go. All right, let's go. Yeah, I'm
Did you
ready.
have a
No, I've just been through. Like, I was at my shift at the hospital. I was in the controversial space, and so were you, Veronica, and yeah, what happened, and bloody blah. We've all moved on, and there was a space, and Nick got in there and tried to get third-hand information from multiple sources, and I tried to say something, and I got booted, and I was like, okay, whatever. So here we are. But anyway.
Okay, I'm hoping somebody understood what he was talking about because I have no clue. But I'm glad you made your comments, Greg, and I appreciate you for them.
I gotta love it.
Okay, what do you do this weekend, Miss Veronica?
Uh, I am I'm going on a hike in the morning and then wine tasting and then golfing on Sunday and golfing on Tuesday again. So yeah, not too much. And then next weekend, Grayton.
Oh, Grayton, that's awesome. I'm so happy you took up golfing. I used to find so much joy in golfing. I golfed every day when I learned many, many years ago until I found out I was pregnant with twins, and then I never got to golf again. So I'm glad you're finding joy in it.
Oh, wow. Well, you should pick up golfing again. How old are your twins?
They are going to be 34 in a few months, and it is definitely on my bucket list. I am definitely going back to golfing because I miss it.
Yeah, you got to get rid of that baby weight, kick them out of the house and go golfing.
Yeah, that baby weight.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, look, that baby weight and the depression from losing my mom. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
I'm sorry, Sherry.
No, we're good. It's just life, right? Life gets in the way sometimes, and medical issues, and before you know it, you're weighing the most you've ever weighed in your life. But Elevated Results is going to help with me with that. And I'm finally health wise to a point where I can take care of my physical fitness. It's hard to believe that a few short years ago, I used to be running and I miss my running. So we're going to get back to that here, hopefully maybe by the end of next year. So
Sherry, you're so good at that. I'm so glad that I finally broke down and gave you the 51% editorial control that you wanted. Because it's really paying off here.
And you like that slip in of our new sponsor's name, did you?
That was really, really solid. Veronica, I wanted to say, you said like, don't want to get into the weeds or that kind of thing. Like the way we envision this space is like whatever people want to talk about, right? Like, it doesn't have to be, it can be Mike Postel and that whole thing and whatever. And if people want to talk about that, you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. But we want it to be about whatever everybody wants to talk about, every other interview is probably about 80% that or something, and it's like sure, that's cool, and we can talk about that, but we can talk about the other stuff too. And what you were saying is like really got me thinking about, is there some type of way to fill that need of that temporary, fill in for the state to come in and get a vehicle in place, get all the stuff in place, and then
I mean, there are people who get cancer and go into life-crippling debt. So
unbelievable.
we need to talk about, and I'm not a socialist, but we need to talk about universal healthcare. Like, I do not think healthcare should be for profit. I'm a registered nurse. I've worked in both Canada and America. I worked in a for-profit hospital in Nevada. It was like the worst fucking hospital I've ever worked at. And I worked at government-owned hospitals that ran better, that had better nurse-to-patient ratios, and had like less bad outcomes for their patients because of those ratios. Like, the stuff I saw in that for-profit hospital, oh my God. No one go to Summerlin Hospital. That place is the worst. That's in Las Vegas, by the way.
That's what I keep hearing. And I'm going to ask that we change this subject because I just think it could be just too political to talk about here. And honestly, after the last 3 days of what I've heard of the arguing in spaces, I just don't want it. I just don't want it tonight. Sorry, folks.
There's nothing political about what she just said. She's just describing the state of healthcare in America. That's all.
I didn't say what she said was political. I said the topic can be political. Okay, Greg? Anybody that's still on the panel have questions? Because I'm going to have to rotate folks out because we have some others waiting. So anybody else on the panel have questions or comments for Veronica? Go ahead, Chris.
No, I was meant to wave goodbye. I know I'm good. I'll just I'll drop down. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate your support. Larry Find, what you got, bud?
Veronica, I wanted to ask about if I heard Sherry correctly in the beginning, she talked about a degree in predictive analytics. Was that what it was?
Yeah, so I started a master's in predictive analytics. I actually did not finish it. Sherry obviously did not do enough digging. But yeah, it's from Northwestern University.
So are you working on currently in that field on your current project and the software stuff you're doing?
Yes, I'm on an analytics team and I'm a senior developer. Yeah.
I use it in my business a lot, especially in the last 5 years or so. It's something I've incorporated into the whole business model thing. So
what do you use?
Well, I said I got to be careful what I say on here, that kind of thing. But for advertising purposes, let's put it that way, I try to dive into that sort of world and to predict who's going to purchase or sell something, who's not going to purchase, that kind of thing. So I'm sort of paying attention to it in the background.
Doing predictive modeling and like establishing metrics is not like a top secret kind of thing. I don't know if you're talking about a specific application, but there are many out there that you could use.
Yeah, I do it for advertising stuff, sales related angle. So, and it's always something that fascinates me. And I'm just wondering how, if you guys are bringing the AI angle into all this and how that's having an impact on where the predictive analytics is headed.
So I'm not sure what you mean by AI because like an algorithm could be considered AI. And there's algorithms used in predictive models and metrics. As far as like a chat GPT kind of thing, uh, like I could troubleshoot my code errors and put them in there and it'll be like, oh, this thing is missing or your case statement's missing a comma or something. But unless my company, my place of work were to interface chat GPT or some sort of AI bot with our database, like there's no way we could utilize it. And the code that it helps you with is like really rudimentary. It's not like it's got really great coding skills, and like the type of coding that I do interfaces with a database, so it's not like it could figure out where the tables are within the database and then like figure out how to join it. Like it doesn't know that, it doesn't have that knowledge. Like that knowledge is stuff that like I'm constantly looking up, and sometimes it takes me hours. So
Well,
yeah.
where I've used it, Veronica, is more like I want to do this specific thing. Like your example is great. What's wrong with this piece of code? Or I need to parse this item out of this string, and not to get too much into the weed here, like how would I do that? Like this specific line of code, I've
But
been able to get it to give me
I think
pretty good
for like,
results.
I think from what I've seen, and I have tried to use it to help me create my code, it does not do a great job. Like it recommends a lot of hard coding, which is not good. We want our coding to be as dynamic as
Right.
possible because when the data changes, you want your queries to automatically, go to those updated changes rather than like something hard coded that you're chronically updating.
Yeah.
And the
So
code that it spits out is like really basic and pretty shitty for the most part, I will say.
yeah, I just think like people's general view of its capability is way beyond what the actual thing, as far as writing code goes, that kind of thing. At least where we're at right now.
Yeah, but it's potentially got the capability to be able to identify somebody and identify a behavior that they're going to do, even though they may not be aware that they're going to do it. I mean, that's
They're
the whole
already
thing.
doing that. They're already doing that. You're with your phone all day. Google knows your whole entire search engine. Literally, they're profiling you everywhere you go. Target can tell you if you're pregnant based off of your purchases. Like, they're already doing that.
Yeah, I had a guy from the Chicago Tribune once try to sell me a list of people, and he said, "I'm trying to get how much I can break down the demographics on that list, right?" And the guy literally says to me, "I can tell you if they sleep on the left side of the bed or the right side of the bed. How descriptive do you want?"